think it's my headset. I
Oh,
don't know
I'm
why.
recording, by the way. I just
Oh, that's fine.
on the video.
It's all good.
I mean, I can always do
Hi.
that anyway.
Everything's fine.
Fine.
Everything's fine.
Okay, we'll start the show in here.
Start the show, man.
Record and start the show. What's up, everybody? Chase Ingram and Bill Grumler here to do a special kind of impromptu episode about Murph. Murph is coming up. It's going to be programmed across the world for Monday, Memorial Day, and it's a very special workout. It's a very special kind of like iconic CrossFit event in terms of community building and an homage to our fallen heroes. The thing with that is that this year we've had some issues training consistently because of this COVID-19 pandemic. And a lot of questions have been rising up lately is it or is it not a good idea to program Murph? And what me and Bill want to do is share kind of our personal thoughts and opinions on that, whether you should or shouldn't, how to maybe approach that if you do decide to do that in terms of maybe forced scaling and modifications, and kind of maybe postponement ideas as well. So we wanted to get right into it. Bill, you are actually not in California right now. You are
Yeah.
in Arizona?
I'm hanging out with my mom. I came out to do some work with her around the house and stuff. You know, my dad passed away earlier in the year in February. And I tell you what, I mean, it's one thing when you lose someone that you've been with for 52 years, you've been married to 52 years, and then immediately go from that right into a social distancing pandemic where like you really can't talk to anyone. So the only person she's really been talking to either than us on FaceTime has been my brother's dog that actually was left here. And so she and my mom and Frankie have been becoming good buddies. But so I come out, do some help around the house, help her out a little bit, and I've been doing the Zoom classes with my gym, which has been really cool. And I'm ready to do a virtual Murph as well with them.
And now,
Yeah.
specifically for California, your shelter in place has actually been extended.
Yeah.
In Texas, we actually our gyms in Texas were allowed to open last Monday. We didn't do that ourselves at my affiliate. We wanted to wait 2 weeks until June 1st just to get a better idea of what's coming.
Yeah.
You know, figure out concrete things to do well and maybe things we should avoid. But so we kind of have two different things going on. Is you're talking more virtual class, which we can go to those that need that. We got
Yeah.
a very realistic opportunity to do Murph. Now, what we want to do in this kind of short episode is answering the question, should we, kind of right off the bat? And I'll start with you and your thoughts on that.
Okay. So my choice, honestly, is that this is a very interesting year for Murph. Not with the angle that you were taking necessarily, but I think that it's very interesting that Murph is one of those workouts that CrossFitters and either people that want to check out CrossFit or sort of dabble in CrossFit or want to have some sort of a special workout to do on a special day. A lot of people do this event. It's very interesting that we go from being very social distance to now all of a sudden the doors start opening up and we can all start coming back together again, which I think is a very cool thing, at least in the idea of community's sake. I think that that's really, really cool. You're right. California is still different. We are still held out. There are a lot of people that are kind of playing the game between like gym and fitness studio, even though like in my particular county, that's all wrapped up into one thing. So we are in phase 2 in California. We don't, my gym can't technically open until phase 3. So they're waiting to see what's happening there. But that being said, I feel that Murph is appropriate to do as long as you're smart about what it is that you're doing. The reason I say that is because I think a lot of people have, since they've moved away from heavier barbell work or shorter workouts that way, I think the the majority of people have been doing longer, high volume type workouts. So they've been doing a lot of push-ups. They've been doing a lot of burpees. They've been doing a lot of sit-ups, a lot of running, if they've been able to do that. And so I think that it's totally applicable to do, appropriate to do. However, the one movement that they have to be very careful of is going to be the pull-ups. I know for us, I mean, I can program a bazillion workouts with very few amount of equipment, but the one element that will always be tough to include into that is going to be pulling. So, if you don't have pull-up bars, if you haven't, I actually made a whole video on how to make the old school set of rings out of PVC pipes and ropes and stuff like that. We have done a lot of sumo deadlift high pulls. We've done a lot of dumbbell rows, that type of thing, to get some sort of a pulling movement in it, but it is different than pull-ups. And so if you haven't done pull-ups for 2 months, and then all of a sudden you jump into weighted pull-ups for 100, you have a very high chance of getting rhabdo, which you need to be very careful of. And then 2, you have a very high chance of blowing out your bicep tendon, which if you do that now just because it's Murph and you want to try, you're overly excited, then you're going to go back into 2 months of not being able to do anything. So I think that's the element that needs to be very well thought out. And the object of Murph this year for everyone should be to have a good time, not to try to get their PR, not to try to go all nuts. But I, on top of that, man, have some fun. You could make the other stuff hard. Make the air squats harder. Go with a 40-pound vest if you've been doing 20 pounds and you've been doing like 9 bazillion air squats a week or whatever. But I think that's where if you want to push the parts that you've been doing. Don't push the parts that you haven't been doing.
That's a good point to kind of throw out there. Is one, the danger we're talking of is rhabdo, and what that is rhabdomyolysis. For those that don't know, it's just that muscle tissue breakdown, where it's a very real and it's a very dangerous thing. I think a lot of people associate rhabdo with CrossFit, which is actually totally off base. For one,
100%, yeah.
Distance runners succumb to rhabdo than CrossFitters do statistically. But to your point is that we have actually, based off what quarantine is like we've been programming running and bodyweight movements to another level than we've normally done at the gym. So we would say we're actually more prepared for the type of workout Murph is, yet we haven't been doing what you said is mass volumes of pull-ups, because not a lot of people have access to a pull-up rig. And even more dangerous than the pull-ups is actually the ring rows. When you have 2 movements specifically with pulling that have the most susceptibility to rhabdo itself, it's ring rows and jumping pull-ups, which to be scales for pull-ups. And the classic athlete that is most statistically susceptible to that are ex-athletes 3 to 6 months removed from strenuous physical activity that still have the mental mindset to go to that place. And we are all that athlete.
All of us.
When it comes
right now.
So when we say safety, it's really this kind of lulled sense of security, is that we're in shape, we're fit, we can do Murph, we've always done Murph, this is nothing new. But the reality is that it is new. It's new territory for all of us. Whether or not we have or haven't been doing pull-ups is one thing. So I think to answer the first question is, should you do Murph? Well, one, if the law allows you and your affiliate to do so, yes, the confines of what we're talking about. And that's making sure you, either as an affiliate owner running this, understand the dangers based off what we just talked about in terms of pull-up volume. 2, understanding what your athletes have been doing. And that's the conversation you need to have, because at our affiliate, we can have actually the opportunity to do Murph in the gym. And that means a bunch of people getting together that have been wanting to get together for almost 3 months. Now you have that intensity element thrown back in that you probably haven't had on your own. Some people have been training for that. So what we have is 2 different things for us. And this will kind of ferry into the next subject line is, should you? Yes, with exceptions to these kind of rules. we've actually had people training specifically for Murph throughout quarantine. They have access to pull-up bars. They have their own vests. They've been doing this on their own. To those people, do Murph. Do Murph full on. You've been preparing yourself for it. For the majority of our members who we've given them limited equipment, mostly workouts that involve one kettlebell or one dumbbell with no access to a pull-up bar. I mean, we haven't been doing pull-ups or ring rows. We've been doing a lot of like kettlebell swings, hang power cleans. We've mandated that if you haven't done pull-ups since May, you're not going to do pull-ups for Murph this year because of the same reasons you said. It's like this year it's different. This is a chance for us to get together as a community when we've been forced apart, whether it's through virtual classes or smaller classes at the gym, to just get back together and have fun with this one this year.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that, you know, there's always a stigma of wanting to modify anything. And those are the people that are always susceptible to getting rhabdo because they're like, yeah, but I know I can do it. I know I can do it. And, you know, just to explain, you know, to go hit that rhabdo thing, like I've had rhabdo, I think probably 3 times. The first time was running a marathon the first time. Yeah. And it was because I was training up to the marathon. I did what every other classic marathoner did. I hurt my knee, like doing the long runs. I think it was 3 weeks off before I did it. And then I just said that I would go easy. And then I ended up getting rhabdo out of it because I just beat myself to a pulp on doing it. And it wasn't even a good time. It was like an absolutely crappy time. The next time was doing pull-ups, which I'm good at pull-ups, but I was playing with the Compex strength and resistance piece. So I was doing the, you know, I'm like, just, you know, see what this does, get a little extra on there. The weird thing is that like, you don't know when it's going to come. And if you are overly stressed, you're not, properly hydrated, you're a little tired. I mean, any of those things that drop your immunity protection, then you are going to be susceptible. And it's very easy to put yourself into a dark place. And the bad thing, the rough part about that is that the pull-ups are right after the run. So you really haven't been beat down yet. You know, when you get to the air squats, okay, you've already done a bunch of stuff. So you're like, you don't hit your first 50 air squats with like a bolt of lightning, but everyone goes into the pull-ups and tries to get this massive chunk. And that's when they've been doing pull-ups. So like, I think if you want to do Murph, like we're going to be doing sumo deadlift high pulls with our heavy object, whatever that ends up being, if you have that ability. If you want to do kettlebell swings, do kettlebell swings, like do 100 kettlebell swings. You've been doing that. You're going to get the intent of the workout. You know, the intent of the workout isn't to do it exactly as written when you haven't been set up to do that. You would never have someone that has not done any pull-ups in 3 months, 2 months, whatever, have them bust out with 100 weighted pull-ups. So why would we do it now? That would be something that wouldn't be very smart. And again, depending where you are, maybe you do ring rows, but a ring row is a very strict pull-up. So there's a lot of tension on those tendons. Maybe just do 50, maybe do 25, maybe, change it up that way, and not give yourself the opportunity to go, okay, for that segment, I will either take it mellow, I will go easy, I will change it, I'll do whatever. But with the other stuff, man, I say the other stuff, have at it. We've been doing a bazillion push-ups. We've been doing a bazillion squats. So get after it on those for sure. Plus, it's just good to have some fun, man. Like if you get to go out and be with some other people, if you are able to do that, do that. If you aren't able to be in the gym yet, but it's okay to be at a park in an area with people, and that's acceptable within your city, your county, whatever, then man, go for it. Have some other people around you to do it, and be able to laugh while you're running, or talk while you're running. If you get the opportunity to do it. But I still think this is going to be an important Murph, because this really is a coming out sort of opportunity for all the CrossFitters to get back together again. I really think that it's cool that is the opportunity, and this is the event that it ends up being while the doors are all starting to swing open.
Absolutely. I think before we get into kind of our scaling options that we're going to provide for our members, the one last piece on the be careful of the intensity part, and to tail off what you just finished with, is like to get together, have fun, like, but also be wary, right? Because
Oh yeah.
like when I work out by myself and you work out by yourself is a lot different than when me and you work out side by side.
Oh, totally.
And I
I mean,
think
we've done all kinds of hotel workouts where we're gonna blow our arms out because of how many did you do? One more? Fuck, I had to do one more. Shit.
we had that. What's that? Our Swotel one that we made up.
Swotel. It's the
That is
coolest.
making its rounds around the world. It's really
It's the
cool.
coolest, man.
Okay, something
Go
different.
check. Go check it. Go check it out. Check it out on the YouTube.
One thing as an example for all CrossFitters around the world in terms of be careful with the intensity is I think the best example we can make as why people should be a little cautious is look at what happened at the CrossFit Games in 2015 when they programmed Murph, right? And so you have Murph that everyone has done
Oh yeah.
with a vest, unpartitioned, any which way possible, especially the best individual CrossFit athletes around the world. But you put them in a setting that they had never done Murph in before. I don't care how hard you go on Memorial Day, but when you do it at the CrossFit Games with other elite individuals competing against you in one mass heat,
In the
that
middle of the day, the hottest time of the day.
that is what wrecked everyone because they were not prepared to push themselves to that level. They did it, but there was a lot of repercussions because of that. So that's kind of what we're talking about. So
Yeah.
that's one example of we're just making sure everyone understands, like, should you do Murph? Absolutely. Should you modify it to fit the training standards of which you've laid out for your affiliate and your members, and make sure they understand what we mean by being careful just on the pull-up side? Yes. Right. So
Yeah.
we'll temper that. So with that being said, is let's go into scaling options. And
Okay.
you said one that I didn't even think about, and I actually did for the first time in quarantine, was those sumo deadlift high pulls.
Dude, we've actually done a lot of those, and you know, sumo deadlift high pulls were kind of a big thing for CrossFitters. Like, I would say, like 8-ish years ago. We were using them a lot. Well, okay, I don't know. It gets blurry after that. And then everyone was saying that it was like the word, and that became one of the movements that was the, all the non-CrossFitters called us out saying that it's the most dangerous movement you can be doing for your shoulder and it's terrible and blah, blah, blah. But what it was when I was looking at the object that we had, how many different ways are you going to pull that object? You kind of have curls, which is old school. Okay, that's fine. You have dumbbell rows, which is fine. We've done those too. We've done a version of like T-bar rows. Same type of thing, kind of bend over that way. And then that was the other one, was the sumo deadlift high pull. And what I liked about that was it was very consistent with core to extremity type movements. It wasn't an isolated muscle movement. You can really concentrate on using your hips. You really work on hinging your hips back, so you're using your hamstrings and your low back, going from opening the hips first to the big shrug to that final pull, making sure that your elbows come back, all those types of things. So I mean, it was a good movement. And again, when you only have two pieces of equipment, you got to get a little bit creative. And so that was us getting creative with that. And at the time it was great. And it's a pulling movement. And that's what Murph is we need 100 reps of a pulling movement is kind of how it's written.
Push, squat.
Squat. Boom.
The options that we threw out, we've been doing this in lieu of pull-ups, was whether it's a dumbbell or a kettlebell, kind of whatever options that they had available that we gave them equipment-wise, was hang power cleans with a single arm, alternating if need be or not. So I gave that as an option. The other one was kettlebell swing.
Yep.
If they have a heavier kettlebell, we suggested just doing a Russian swing, so just a half swing. If it's a little lighter, they can do a full swing. The idea behind that was we wanted to make sure it's still a type of pulling movement, which a swing is, minus the pull like a high pull would add to, which is why we had the hang power clean option.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to try to minimize incorporating any more movement than that. So I was just thinking about, as you were saying, hang power or sumo deadlift high pull, is that to me that adds a lot more kind of lower body to it.
It does.
To the other
It
option.
does.
But I just thought it was like maybe doing kind of a Russian swing sumo deadlift high pull hybrid movement.
Totally.
So minimal hip usage, but you still get that pull like you would from the pull up.
Yeah.
Honestly, it just popped in my head as we were kind of going back and forth here, which is kind of the fun part. Is I might test that out after this phone call to see how that because I do like getting a pull in there rather than just having that straight arm static swing that you Russian swing or a full swing.
Yeah, and I mean, again, the coolest thing about what it is that we do is infinitely scalable, right? So there's like the options, you can go anywhere with that. And to me, what I look at is, okay, you want to try to get general positioning is similar to the movement as you can, but if it isn't spot on,
right,
like really honestly, who cares? I mean, whether you do kettlebell swings or you do maybe you do a hang power clean, a single arm hang power clean, or what I was thinking was what is going to take about the same amount of time, so that everyone's, again, about in that same time frame of whatever their past Murphs are going to do. And even to that point, like jumping one movement ahead of that on the run. Like, so depending on the people, depending on where they're training, we've had some people that like they can't necessarily go out and do 400-meter runs or 100-meter runs, or I mean, unless they're doing like some of the body weight stuff that we've programmed, they haven't done a lot of running, but we have done a lot of burpees. So what I said was, okay, about how long does it take? Takes somewhere between like 8 to 10 minutes, I think, for most people. So with myself, I know that like my foot's been jacked up, so I haven't done any running at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do burpees, but I'm going to do 80 to 100 as long as it puts me in that like 9-minute-ish range, because that's about what I would do if I was running it. So if I could be right around in there, then that's going to work. If you're not weighted, then you can go for 100, or you just go for 9 minutes on the burpees. And at least, again, it puts you in the same realm, puts you in the same time frame. And I mean, it's not like you're going to be flying through those burpees. The object, just like on the run, you're not going to be flying on the run. You're just trying to get through it because that's the start.
Right.
So I mean, like even on that, there's elements. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily want to do a whole lot of lunges because you're going to be doing a whole lot of squats, and then you're going to be doing lunges right after that. But you could if you wanted to.
I think the one thing, I mean, to your point, you can scale this so many different ways. That's why we came up with like 8 different things to do in lieu of pull-ups.
Yeah.
Maybe mix in all of those if you get bored for 100 reps.
Yeah.
For scaling the run, which is a good point that you just made, is that burpees is one conditioning movement that you could. I think I would not want to do that because I'd rather
don't be a baby, Chase.
Like I suck at push-ups, so I don't need to make those any harder than they already are with burpees.
Right.
With a thing I've seen you do is either those high steps.
Oh yeah.
Or what I saw.
They're shitty.
Those are shitty, but it's a good kind of non-redundant movement to go into the rest of the workout after that. But another one I saw was it was actually a double under scale where they took their dumbbell and they just kind of did this like jump, switch, tap.
Oh yeah, toe taps. Yeah,
taps.
Yeah.
So I think there's a way to scale the run to something that feels more like running. Now it's a bit harder if you have a foot injury like you're talking about. Obviously there's rowing and assault bikes, but that's if you have the equipment.
Totally. Well, I mean, just to your point on that. So we had the workout that we did today. It was an EMOM, and on the 4th minute, it was a 100-meter sprint. So we did 100 high knee raises. Like you could either bounce really fast or you just try to march it. And I will say this, it seems really, really easy to do up to 50. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, now it is an actual workout piece. And try it. If you haven't done it, try it. You get up over 50 and it's going to be a whole new deal. So if you do that, whatever, if it's 100 knee raises for 100 meters, okay, well, I mean, that's a shit ton of those, but again, you're looking at like 9.5 minutes, 9 minutes, somewhere around there, and that's about what that will be.
Okay.
So
Again, multiple options that
totally.
we want to give people. Okay, so those are, I would say, scaling options for the movements. The big one, obviously, as we've been saying since the beginning, is be very wary and very careful of who should be doing pull-ups and how many.
Yep.
Use those scaling options for the run. Now, I want to talk about maybe partitioning options, because Murph can be done 1,000 different ways.
Right.
The big feature chest way is straight through 100, 200.
Unpartitioned, 100, 200, 300.
With the weight vest.
Right. There you go.
Different time, different place. I was here. But one thing that I've learned for myself is that I'm a much better athlete when it comes to Murph with partitioning, just because high volume, consistent reps blow me up pretty good. But if I partition it, 20 rounds of 5, 10, 15, I can sustain that way more because I don't have that fatigue failure on pull-ups or fatigue failure on push-ups or just absolute boredom of air squats.
Right.
So partitioning is one way we will offer it to our athletes, as well as volume partitioning. So for us is we're going to take that 20 round approach in the middle, and you can either do 5, 10, 15 if you've been doing the volume, 4, 8, 12, 3, 6, 9, or 2, 4, 8, just to lessen the load. So again, people can do this, enjoy it this year, have some semblance of community on a day that which we haven't been able to have in the last 3 months.
Yeah. And I think that, one of the things I'm a big proponent in, time frame intense. So, obviously you're going to have a variance if everyone is doing it exactly as written, whether they're weighted or not weighted, doing the mile, 100, 200, 300 the mile. We have a general idea of how long each of those pieces should take. So I think it's very, it's easy to do where you say, okay, do the run, that's fine. And then if you don't think you can make it through the next segment of the body weight stuff at this time, segment it so that you're getting some pulling, you're getting some pushing, you're getting some squats, but you're going to have 20 minutes on that piece. And that way you're going round and round and round. And then you have that community element of where everyone kind of starts to head out the door around the same time. You don't have people finishing at one point and then having to wait another 45 minutes for other people to come in. We always have to cheer the people on as they're coming in, but unless someone really wants to do it as written that way, I try to set those up for when we're running classes, especially set them up so that everyone's in that same amount of the same time frame ish. If we are, I always tell everyone, if I'm scaling and modifying it correctly, then the times and the rounds and the reps and everything like that should be pretty dang close. It doesn't have to be spot on, but it should be pretty dang close. And then we know that everyone's getting the same relative stimulus by that.
And I think for something like Murph, relatively close to me is 10 to 15 minutes. Everyone finish the workout at the same time, just because it's such a long workout. So partitioning is one. I even gave out an option of partitioning the runs for people who aren't used to running that far, that long. So, I threw one in there. It's like 20 rounds of 5, 10, 15 and a 150-meter run or 200-meter, whatever you're comfortable with as one way to do that. So what we want to do is just kind of lay out a bunch of different options. Even if you don't partition it, you can do unpartitioned half Murph, third Murph, quarter Murph. Just understand is like, we want to make sure you guys take Murph this year as just a way to all get together again, whether it's in person, like we might be able to do in Texas, weather permitting. It's supposed to be thundering and lightning. Move it, which we'll cover here in a second, or as you're doing. So how are you going to do it virtually for your affiliate?
So what I've done is I've told everyone, hey, we're going to have 2 classes for the day. Bring your phones, bring your iPads, bring whatever it is going to do it. If you're going to run, I want people to bring their phones with them. And so we can see them running. So I can still be yelling to them as they're running. Or if they're doing burpees or whatever. I told some people, I'm like, hey, I'm not allowed to have you in the gym yet. but they're saying that the parks are now open. So as long as you're not in a big gathering group and you're doing your social distancing, have a couple other people hang out there with you. So you guys are running in the same, running at the same time. I know we have a couple people that are going to be heading up to the Cal Poly track, so they can do the track there, and they can kind of spread themselves out to do the pulling and the push-ups and the air squats. So there still can be a very communal effort, whether you are stuck in quarantine still, or if your jurisdictional areas have been able to open that up. We want everyone to be healthy and unsick and have not have any issues and do all that kind of stuff. There's obviously a variety of levels of what people think about how it's going and what's still going, but like, we want everyone in the community to be able to do this. And so that's what we're going to be doing. And virtually it's same thing. Bring your phone, hook it up like you've been hooking up, put your headphones on so you can play your music, but you can still hear me or the coach talking. And just keep on going. Cheer people on as you're doing it. As you're running and getting bored, or doing air squats and getting bored, you can pick up your phone and start talking to people and, making fun and talking about why so-and-so is going down, isn't going low enough or whatever. I mean, there's so many things you can do to keep enjoying that. And then honestly, what I hope people do after the fact of that is have some sort of social right after the fact, whether it's you want to have a beer with everyone, or you want to have a drink with everyone, or that's why we didn't go classes back to back, because I want that time for everyone to be able to hang out, cool down together, talk about how it was, think about all the either, hey, it's cool that we get to hang back out again, or man, it's right around the corner, I can't wait, just to fire everybody up. That's really what's important about this event at this particular time. And that's why I said that I'm really kind of excited that this is the workout that, and it's not like we adjusted anything. Like, it just happened to fall on this one with the most communal workout that CrossFit has. And it's a great time for it. So we're going to make the most of it.
I think it's really cool. And I love the kind of post workout kind of cool down. And again, we preface all this communal exercising, keeping social distancing and all those rules in play. So we're not saying
totally.
Just screw it and go start high-fiving each other and hugging.
No. Like, do your thing, get around, but you can be, they're saying you can be by people. I mean, they're saying if I got my 6 feet or my 10 feet or whatever it is, if you are in the same park area with someone and you now get to see them and laugh, like, that's going to make you feel good. And if you're able to do that, man, do it,
So what we're going to do is, since we can have people, we have a 25% occupancy rule at the moment. And for us, it's about 20 to 25 people in the gym at one time. We're still going to do it outside the gym in the parking lot. And so what we've designated is we have a pull-up rig outside.
Oh,
has
nice.
spots for about 6 people safely. And then for those that aren't going to be doing pull-ups, and we've already spelled this out for all of our members showing up, is that we're just going to not have them park at the gym and designate a person per parking space. So it's already making them specifically in line. And since they have a dumbbell, they're not going to be running around other than the beginning and the end. And so that's kind of our plan and our setup. So those are a few options we give you guys out in terms of, from the beginning, is be very careful and understanding and have a healthy respect of the potential dangers, especially on the pull-up side and the volume side, if your members aren't used to that. That is on your coaches and your affiliate owners to really convey that message to your members. We want to say it's up to them to do that, but it is up to you to make sure they understand the choices that they're about to make. We gave scalings for pull-ups and runs and partitions. The last subject is postponing. For us, we have a real potential to not be able to do this on Memorial Day because of the weather. And so one option that I'm looking at is, well, if we can't do it on that day, and we feel like there is some semblance of maybe rushing this a little bit to get everybody back together, and how we should scale, and should everybody be getting that close to each other for a setting, is that there's an option that we're going to just push it back to July 4th. That gives us 5 weeks of kind of seeing where this pandemic goes, for one.
Yeah.
2, we're going to be back open June 1st. So that gives us 4 weeks to get people ready for Murph that maybe wanted to do pull-ups but weren't allowed to because of the standards that we set. And
Right.
so when it comes to that, yes, Memorial Day Murph is one thing. I've missed Murph on Memorial Day for the 7 years that we were doing regionals together.
That's right.
We were
That's
all
right.
traveling for regionals. So
I always ended up coming back. We'd come back Sunday night or whatever, and I'd go straight to the gym the next day, and I would always hurt something
oh yeah.
because it was like, all right, we've been sitting down for 3 days, haven't done anything. Sure, strap on a vest and don't be that dumb guy. I do that way too much.
So a funny story to that is last year was the first year I had ever done Murph on Memorial Day with my affiliate. In the 8 years we've been doing it, because we all got fired. To that July 4th is like, it's only 5 weeks away from Memorial Day. And there's not a lot of bad things to postpone that other than people wanting to do that. So ours might be forced because of what the weather may be on Monday, but if you guys want to postpone it, then I think that's a great day to do it. It's you know, there's really no negatives to postpone it. So
No,
if you guys are worried about it in any way in terms of people not being ready physically, or just how the pandemic is forcing your community to shut down at the time, is hey, push it back a couple weeks on the 4th of July and red, white, and blue the shit out of it, and have maybe more fun with more people potentially 5 weeks from now.
totally. And I mean, and there's nothing to say that you can't. I mean, hey, guess what? We've been virtual for how long now? What's one more day? And then so you do a virtual Murph of whatever that version is going to look like. And then you do a real Murph on 4th of July. I mean, there's really, I will say this, one of the biggest positives that have come out of the pandemic is this jump to the virtual platform. Now there really is no reason why you can't do something. I mean, it's very easy to set this up and to do it virtually. I mean, like technically we're still doing it virtually. I mean, you guys might be thinking about postponing and we're like, well, we didn't even have the option to postpone it. We're going to do it virtually anyway. So like that element is always there, but I think you're right. I think that, keep what the intent of the workout is, which is let's get the community together to show our respects for the soldiers and the people out there that have laid down their life for us. If it doesn't happen exactly on Memorial Day, it doesn't mean that you did not show respect to the people that you're supposed to be showing respect to. We do hero workouts all the time. Who's to say that we can't do it 2 days later, 1 week later, 5 weeks later, and have it still not count? Because it's the community within your community that is doing it. It's your community paying respects. It isn't necessarily that it's a I mean, I know that there's a lot of people in the world that are doing it at this particular time, and everybody wants to jump on that bandwagon.
Of course,
But
we
it
all
isn't
want
like everyone is checking up with each other. Only the people in the gym know the people in the gym that are doing it. I don't know the people in your gym that are doing it. So,
to. Yep.
but yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm actually excited about this one this weekend.
Me too. I hope we can do it on the day, and I hope we can get people together. It was kind of our week before the week we open,
The soft opening.
inviting everybody together, and it's like, hey, I miss you too. And to the main point of this is that this is a event on Memorial Day as a remembrance and pay your respects on Memorial Day for what it's designed to be, and that is to honor those that gave their lives for the freedoms that we have now, even though it's not the way it currently was up until a couple of months ago. But however, it's the point is beyond us just wanting to do Murph as a workout, right? So it
That's
stems
true.
well beyond that. But what we want to do is we wanted to give our thoughts on that coming forward. Is that, look, it's a special day, it's a special workout, it's a special opportunity for your community to pay their respects beyond just sweating in a parking lot with your friends. And if you have the opportunity to do that, we wholeheartedly support that with all the kind of amendments that we've been talking about over the last half hour.
Absolutely. And and if you want to take that COVID beard that you've been working, you want to shave it into a Chase mustache, I say do it. I mean, I think I think that Chase's mustache needs to have a special hurrah, and we need to say that before we go off the air, because I honestly thought, I know you said that, your wife Ashley didn't really like it, and I'm really proud of you that it's still on your face right now. I'm proud of you, man.
Bill,
Sorry, Ashley.
are you going to? Are you?
No, but no, because like I've been growing this a little longer. Like if it was just like a COVID beard, then maybe. But like,
It looks good though.
nah, probably not.
I try to have the mustache hover right over the mic, so if you're listening to this, you can really tell. But just
So you just hear this?
cover it up, just right over the top. But, look, guys, we want you guys to have fun. Above all else, we do want you to be safe. This is supposed to be a great day to be with your community, to celebrate those that can't celebrate on their own because of what they gave for this country and those around the world. It's not just a United States thing. It's an everywhere thing. So be safe, be careful, have fun. If you guys can do it, great. If you need to postpone it. But above all else, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And that's for all of us to just come together as one big community and enjoy our time.
Yeah, and I hope you guys have a good time. And hey, real fast, everybody. This has been a really big month for us as far as with the podcast, and please continue sharing it to everyone, because it seems like everyone's starting to have a really good time with us. And like I said, me and Chase both have a blast doing this. So keep sharing it, keep listening, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
And thank you guys for your support again. This has been a wild ride in a short amount of time, and we have so much more fun stuff to go ahead. But we wanted to get this out because it's what it centers around, is the program around the world. And for us, it's one of those is should or should not you program Murph? We say yes, just do it the right way and make sure you do it for the right reasons. So for Bill Grundler, hey, thanks for popping in and jumping on here.
Absolutely.